us, the defense, and we trust the judges to take the right decision.
Attorney Nick, multiple times during online streaming, the statement, especially if it's the presentation of the defense, it has been cut off multiple times. Do you know the reason why they are doing this?
I think Judge Moffat made it clear that there are certain aspects of the court transcript that cannot be broadcast to the public because there are protective measures. There are what I refer to as redactions throughout the hearing, and that's the reason why.
Attorney Kaufman, on behalf of the Filipino community all over the world, we would like to extend our congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I was so surprised that you did fight for the former president.
That's because we have an appeal pending, an appeal on the first review of detention. And there's no point making new arguments when we're still waiting for a decision from the higher chamber on the first decision. It's purely legal. Okay, it's not that I agree that my client should continue to be in detention. It's merely recognising the futility of making an additional request for interim release at this point in time.
Sir, were there new conditions set by the prosecution or reasons for the continued detention? Aside from flight risk, fear from the victims, was there a new reason cited?
These conditions are set out in the statute. That's the REM statute which governs this building here. And there are three conditions which govern interim release. The prosecution have to either show the risk of flight, the risk of intimidation of witnesses, or the risk of continued commission of crime. Now, we've argued throughout the process that because of his age and because of his condition, and for various reasons, he's not able to engage any of those risk factors. The prosecution disagreed, and the prosecution argued that his refusal to recognise the possibility of exercising jurisdiction over him signifies that if he were released, he would not present himself for trial. We disagree with that. But then once again, these are decisions that have to be taken by the appeals chamber and not by me here in the media.
Attorney Kaufman, some Filipino lawyers of the victims are describing your last-minute attempt to appeal to emotions as grasping at straws. How do you respond to that?
I'm representing a client who's been locked up for a year, who hasn't seen the public, so of course I'm going to address the public who want to see him. I made my position very clear. I felt that he should appear, but he's my client. He took his decision, and I respect that decision, and the decision that he took, as it turns out, was the right decision in all the circumstances. Yes, of course, my detractors are going to criticise me. The prosecution tried to strike me from the record, as you saw at the end, but that failed miserably. And I think that just signifies the extent to which they are irritated by the arguments which I made. And those arguments were professional. I litigated for the best part of a day and a half on the substance. I'm talking about the legal arguments. I'm talking about the evidence. We attacked every one of those counts which alleged that Mr. Duterte murdered 78 victims. We deny that completely. So we gave our reasons why, and they're on the record.
Attorney Kaufman, sorry, this is not the first time that you're facing the ICC. You have defended other clients before. How would you compare or how would you contrast the complexity of this particular case compared to the other cases that you've dealt with before?
Well, all the cases here are complex. The complexity arises out of what are called the modes of perpetration. The modes of liability is something which I talked about at length, especially the indirect co-perpetration theory, which is something which is applied here in practically every case. So with respect to complexity and with respect to quantity of evidence, this case doesn't differ from any other case. What does differ is the sheer love that the Filipino nation have for my client, and I've seen it on a daily basis when I go up to visit Mr. Duterte in his detention centre, and I see the people waiting there every day, just hoping to feel something of that Duterte magic. It happens even when I travel abroad. For example, I can go to a foreign country, the United Arab Emirates. I land at the airport and there are Filipinos there and they recognize me straight away. And they come up to me, they want to hug me, and then they cry. They cry because by crying on my shoulder, they can feel that they're getting some form of closeness to the former president.
That's indeed true.
Okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Attorney Kaufman.
Yes.
Yes.
I spoke with the president when he met him last Wednesday when a hearing was on a break. Was that really something that you had initially thought that was important to share during your closing?
Yes. Why was it necessary?
It's 100% necessary, and I shared it, and it irritated people because you see, people have brought him to this court, they've put him on trial. He asked all the time, if I've done something wrong, let me be tried in front of my own people, and they want to silence him once he's here by standing up and asking for him to be struck in the record. Okay, I didn't testify on his behalf. I just told them the difficulties that I'm facing and the reasons why he didn't want to present himself before the chamber. Not out of disrespect, but because he raised a legitimate argument that he does not recognise the possibility of this court exercising its jurisdiction. And that was the very first thing he said when he was arrested back in the Philippines, having arrived in the Bangkok. Yes, indeed.
Because you didn't want him to wear that his fitted suit.
Yes.
You wanted it erased or deleted from.
Yeah, he was.
I think that's humiliating, quite frankly, having that photograph there. He was taken in a situation where he had really been released from hospital a few days before, and he was tired, he was jet lagged, he was suffering from the medication of the hospital, and then he was just told that he's being put in front of a television camera and taking part in an audience, a hearing. And of course, that suit's not his own. I mean, have you ever seen him wear a suit and tie like that?
No.
So I said, well, the judges, they could reject your waiver, and then you might be obliged to appear. And then you'll have a choice. Either you stay in your cell and refuse to come out, and then maybe they will force you out, but I doubt it. You're 80 years old. I can't see anyone forcing an 80-year-old man to come out of his prison cell to come to court. Or they could put you in front of the television camera. Or you can choose to come. And I told him, well, maybe you should think about coming. I'm going to give you the option. And if you do come, I want you to wear a barong. And so we had a barong specially fitted for him. My team went up there and we measured him. He was a bit reluctant, but he agreed. And but then he said to me, Mr. Kaufman, no, I don't want it. And then he told me what I mentioned.
That was the final decision.
Yep.
That not to appear.
Attorney, have you already spoken to the family? Did they already give you a feedback as to what happened in the proceedings in the last week?
Just finished my submission.
Perhaps by
I've
a
been with
Zoom
my
call
team. I haven't had
yesterday.
an opportunity. Come on.
Have you seen the president?
All right. Yeah.
When will you update him?
I'll be calling him this evening.
Why do you always criticize the media in all of your presentations?
Why does the media always criticize my client? Full stop. End of story. Next question.
Sir,
So when was the last time you saw the president? Last Wednesday? You haven't seen him since then?
Well, no, because I've been in court. That's a bit
Alright.
difficult.
Are you
Okay,
gonna
and
see
I had
him-
to work on my closing submissions last night.
Are you gonna see
but,
him now?
But I'm not going to see him now because I'm not allowed to, because it's past visiting time. Okay, but
Sir,
I
should
will
the
be speaking to
sir,
him.
sorry, should the appeals chamber grant your appeal with regard to the change in the place of detention? What place do you have in mind aside from the
I
detention
can't tell you
facility?
that, I'm afraid, because that's confidential.
Okay.
When will your next visit to for President Duterte?
Well, I'm going to take a bit of a break now. I've been working very hard, as was the whole of my team. I think I deserve a break. So I'll be seeing him shortly. There are a couple of decisions which are due to be rendered, as you know. First of all, the appeals decision on jurisdiction, and also the appeals decision on his first review of detention.
Can his family
Attorney-
visit it
lawyers,
already
attorney.
since it's, the confirmation of charges is already finished?
Yes, it is, and the honourable judges have 60 days to take their decision.
How about the Filipino lawyers? Are they already applied for the ICC?
I
Accreditation.
haven't had an opportunity to speak to them. Okay, I just came out.
Attorney, was it the personal request or the family's request for the removal of the picture of the former president, the one in blue suit?
No, that was my request.
Your
Yes.
request, but not necessarily. It did not come from the
I haven't consulted
family.
them on dress requirements. Okay, that's my request. I've always said that photograph which exists on the ICC website is not the type of photograph that I would want for the world to see. Simply so.
Thank you, Attorney
Is there
Kim.
an expected ruling on that request?
No, I doubt it. Okay, I've made my objection known. It's not an official legal request. It's a polite request, and an understandable request from a humanitarian point of view.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you, Attorney.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Congratulations, Attorney Nick. Mabuhay ka. Duterte. Ang kugo man siya, friend. Ay, Ginoo ko, Lord. Kitang kugo man siya, friend. Oo. Gani.
Hero, payungan.
Haman akong payong gang. Ang pagbabalik. Mga Attorney Nick! God bless you! Bye, Attorney! We love you! Aww. Ha? Super bait!
Hi, attorney. I miss you. Pinangita si Kuan mo. Thank you. Hindi ka na nakaglakaw ako mawag.
Hindi mo ang ano.